What's up, everybody? We're back with another tier list. You guys like the first one so much? We're here with another one. It is all of the D23 cards, all the promos that are worth an insane amount of money right now. But we only care about what they do. So, guys, are you ready to rank and tier list the absolute crap out of these cards?
The definitive tier ranking.
Yeah, and we're basically doing this spontaneously, so no prep work here.
No, we never do any prep work. Everybody should know this already.
It's not how we operate around here.
We did already rate this Mickey in our last tier list video. If you have not seen the last tier list video, go watch it. It's entertaining, hopefully.
He will serve as a baseline. We rank this
a B. Yes. Mickey is a B. And so first actual card that we're going to talk about this time is going to be Stitch. And because, Jay, you're the first person on the video thing that I'm looking at.
Sweet.
I'm gonna hit you first. What do you think about old Stitch?
All right, yeah. So he's a 6 cost, 3/5, and he has 3 lore pips. I can't read what it says, but it's something along the lines that you can shift for cost 4.
4.
And you can, every time you play a 1 or 2 cost character, you can draw a card. Is that right?
Yeah, you have to exhaust the character that you play, but you can draw a card off of it. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the content people come to Unplayable.
Okay. So this card I think is actually pretty good. He's the kind of character that you don't build your deck around, but if you can get him out, then he can generate that card draw engine, which is pretty sweet. So I think he's actually pretty decent. His stats are fine. 3 can defeat or challenge and banish most 3 costs or less, and then 5 keeps him around a decent amount. So yeah, I'll give this guy I don't know, seems like a solid B.
Respectable. Okay, Jim.
That's playable. I like that. Yeah, just looking at this card, the 6 cost is tricky for me as far as how to rate it, because a 3/5 stat line for 6 doesn't feel amazing. 5 health is solid to at least stay alive.
But it has shift.
Right. So that's right now the only other Stitch we have is, I believe, the Amber 1 cost.
Yep.
Which is a 2/2 body. So to have it stay alive for that long would be quite a lot, or it might just be sitting on the field the whole time to do the shift. So it definitely could. But I was just trying to look at it as is. Yeah, it's if it can shift, then that's fantastic. But no, I like it. I think this is a card that it's kind of in that weird mid-game to late game period that it doesn't look so scary when it first comes out, but questing for 3 is a big deal. That's a good chunk. And then, getting to have a turn of drawing 2 or 3 cards to just totally recycle your hand, that feels pretty sweet. Just to even give you some options. And so I'd imagine this would go in a deck that has a lot of on-play kind of creatures or characters in there. Just so you can play them, get the effect, and then exert them to draw the card. So it's kind of you're using them for actions anyway. I would probably put this as a low A card. So just a little bit higher than what Jay put.
I like it. David?
All right, so
your thoughts?
What I love about it, I love the shift. I love the 3 pips, and I love that it has that passive effect that immediately when it enters play, you get this thing, right? So whenever you play a character with cost 2 or less, you may exert to draw a card. We've been learning in Lorcana, card draw is very important, so you don't end up top decking your life out. This card is only going to get better, I think. No, I don't think. I know, because this is the definitive ranking podcast. I know this will get better over time, because imagine if we get a 1 or 2 cost bodyguard type of character where you want to exert it already, and you can combine it with Stitch to also draw a card. The ceiling for this, I think, is very high. Therefore, I'm rating it a solid A.
Solid A. All right. I feel pretty similarly to you guys. I've played a lot of Stitch, and I've tried to build around Stitch a lot, and that is clearly not the way to go. It's hard to build around only 4 cards in a 60 card deck. But I think as a sort of mid to late game sort of, draw character that can come down. It does multiple things, right? It threatens to draw a bunch of cards. It also threatens to gain a bunch of lore. So I do think it is quite good. I think playing it for 4 with shift is way better than playing it for 6 on its own. On the other hand, like if I'm playing this for 4 and shifting to do it, I really want to also be playing at least like one other card with it that I can use to trigger its ability. So that's realistically like turn 5, turn 6 or something like that. Maybe you play this with blue and you can get it down a little bit faster. But I think it's good at what it does. I don't think it's like an amazing crazy card that's going to go in every Amber deck, because you do need the sort of cheap cards to support it. So I think I'll give it an A as well, like a low A.
Okay.
So are we
Suck it, Jay.
are we comfortable putting this low A? I mean, I honestly could even go high B just because of like the deck building restriction, but I think
I like it.
I think it's like pretty good on its own even.
An
I think we
interesting
get
thing to me too is, so like I feel like the shift is only relevant because it can be a surprise 3 lore. I think that the fact that he has crappy stats and he doesn't have an ability that you have to exert him to use, that the shift actually doesn't bring that much except for a 1 ink less cost, essentially, over the course
2
of
ink.
the game. Well,
but you're paying
Stitch.
1 for the original Stitch, yeah.
The card, or losing the card advantage isn't that bad because you can immediately gain the card back, but I don't know. I feel like the shift isn't that impactful, except for the case where you're at 17 lore and you can just play him down immediately. Quest, or like you have a few characters out there, and then this gets you to the win.
Yeah, there are times where you could play this on turn 4, and because it's a 3/5, be able to make a good trade with it too. But that happens so like infrequently because your opponent's just gonna turn around and hit it right back. That I feel like if you're in that position, you're probably already ahead.
Yeah, I think this is a card that I want to see work in like a go wide 80-bitty minion deck that is just go quick kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah. I think if we get more cards that trigger off of you playing cheap stuff, then this obviously gets even better just as a part of that package. All right, let's move on to the next one. So we've got Elsa. Jim, what do you think about Elsa?
All right, so Elsa is a 3 cost that you can use and put in your inkwell. It's a 2 strength, 3 willpower card. Can quest for 1, but it also has an ability called Freeze, where you can exert Elsa to exert a chosen opposing character. So this card is definitely more of like a stall out, great against like mid to like control style. They're looking to get big characters out on the board, and you're trying to kind of stop that plan. It's tough because it's definitely understated for 3, but its power can be really powerful, especially like if it's a combo deck or, like I said, one that you're getting towards late game. You play this card, and they play their game winner. Once this thing's out there, I'm going to win the whole thing, and you just get to keep it locked up the whole time potentially. So
they ready at the start of their turn. So you use this to basically, lock it up on your turn so you can do something about their
So you can go attack into it. That makes it significantly worse than I initially thought, but still a good card. So yes, you already have to have a board and then exert it and then probably fight into that thing is kind of the idea behind it. Okay, thank you. Forgot about that rule. I'll say low B and let you guys say I'm an idiot.
David,
you're an idiot.
Okay, go ahead.
Definitively?
Yeah, definitively. I'm going to throw Elsa in as an A because I don't think Jim has played enough Lorcana to know that sometimes leaving a character.
Don't throw Jim out of the bus.
Oh no, I will absolutely throw him under the bus. We have enough friendship and history for me to throw him under the bus here. Because there are so many. I mean, we just talked about Stitch. Those passive effects where like you're just getting like pure advantage and pure value off of something being unexerted, or even as simple like I don't know. Well, we haven't talked about baby hook yet, but like sometimes it's like even getting rid of a stupid little baby hook because you can exert it and take that threat off the board might be enough value. We'll see, but I actually think on the control side, like at least to this point, we've only seen 74 cards. There's not enough ways to just straight up deal with creatures on the board. We know there are more coming. They've basically said as much in interviews, but so for right now, as we've seen it, like I actually rate Elsa as an A. It's not, and it's hard because like there are going to be some matchups where Elsa, it doesn't bring enough value to play it, but you can always ink Elsa in those cases. But like in the matchups where they're looking to like combo off some pieces, I think that's gonna be very good. It's insurance against like combos. It's insurance against the like reap out. I've got enough to just like burst to 20 kind of a thing because I could do that, and then I could challenge with my hooks or my big boys to fight. So I give it an A.
Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, so Elsa is, I think, right now better than she might possibly be once we get more cards, because she's one of the only ways to deal with characters that your opponent doesn't want to exert so they can keep their combo going. For example, Mickey Mouse with the brooms. Usually they keep that character ready, unexerted, so that they can keep using their brooms and don't lose Mickey. So Elsa lets you exert Mickey and take him out, banish him challenging. She's also really good into like challenger mirrors, where like we're both playing challengers like Jafar's, Captain Hook's, to be able to exert them and get them on their bad turns, which is always a positive. So she feels really good right now because we have so limited amount of spot removal or ways to deal with threats that your opponent doesn't want to exert. So I'm gonna give her a B.
A B. Okay.
A B.
I originally didn't like Elsa very much. I didn't really see the value, but after playing a ton of games and playing a lot with Elsa, I can't imagine building an Amethyst deck without it. It's like sometimes, I mean, Jay and I, we've played a lot. We've often gotten into this situation where we're sort of at a standoff, and it feels like the first person who plays the Elsa gets to sort of control how the rest of the tempo of the game goes, because you can choose to, lock down whatever you want on your opponent's side, where you can make the best trade possible, get a couple 2-for-1s with your characters, and it sort of snowballs from there. So again, right now, she's probably the best she'll ever be because of the other options that are available out there. But there's really no other way right now other than like some, like Dragonfire and some other cards, if the characters don't have a ton of health, can deal with something that your opponent doesn't want to actually exert. So I think this is S tier right now. I can't imagine making an Amethyst deck without Elsa. And so to me, that means that she has to be at S tier.
Dang.
So I think we probably average out to high B or low A. Jim, you said B. David, you said A.
Didn't.
No, you didn't. What'd you say, Jim?
No, I said low B. Yeah.
You did. Okay, you said B. Jay, you said B.
Yep.
I think we're probably A-ish. Do you think Elsa's better than Stitch or worse than Stitch, you guys?
I think let's put better than, because I think it's more universal. I think Stitch will play into that specific like small creature. I think Elsa, with the current system of abilities to mess with their opponent, that seems like universal. But I do think it's going to keep slipping back as we see more and more of the
I definitely think it's possible
control side.
I think the other thing is that you can ink her, which is so good. Like you can't, I mean, you'll never want to ink a Dragonfire, but you can't ink a Dragonfire if you needed to.
Yeah.
So
point.
I think the fact that she is inkable is very nice. All right, let's move on to Cruella de Vil. And David, you're up.
2 cost Emerald, 1 strength, 3 willpower, Storyborn villain, 1 lore pip. You'll be sorry when this character is challenged and banished. You may return chosen character to their player's hand. So cost wise, this is crazy efficient at 2, and you can ink Cruella. And the fact that her ability is when this character is challenged and banished, you may return chosen characters. So correct me if I'm wrong, but rules wise, that's you choose the character, right?
Any
like
character.
You just straight up like any
Mhm.
character.
Yeah. Yours as well if you really wanted to.
Yeah. Because there could be play effects that are really good. So in my games playing with Emerald, which aren't a ton because there's still not enough Emerald spoilers. Ravensburger, if you're listening, please.
They're not.
For the love of the game. Okay, good. That's probably best for them. But I mean, that ability is so powerful. It's like you don't want to challenge into Cruella ever. You see, you either have to like burn some stuff at 3 health or like three willpower. I mean, it's very strong, very, very, very strong. It's hard because I don't know what's coming in Emerald. So my ranking could absolutely change. I'm wondering if there's like a shift version of Cruella that could drop onto this this thing. So you never want to touch it. You don't want to spend stuff on it. I'm giving it but it's only 1 lore pip, but it comes in at 2. Oh, hot take. I'm putting it S tier.
Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
I just am. For now, this could change in a couple months.
I love it. All right, Jay. What do you think?
Not too much to add to what he said. I mean, it's a 2 for 1-3. We've all mentioned how 1-3 is a terrible stat line, but that doesn't matter because that's not why you're playing her. You're playing her so that you can just reap every turn for 1, or once your opponent finally decides to deal with her, you can get rid of one of their threats easily, or you can bounce back when your cards to do playability again. But I think like 90% of the time, you're probably going to bounce back one of their threats to get it off the board. I think that it's not as good as banishing. So like Cheshire Cat banishes the challenging player. I think he's actually better, but she's got a similar playability.
You think the cat is better? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I think Cheshire Cat's better than her, but for what is kind of like the same ability, essentially, he's got 0 attack, but I mean, the one doesn't
might
matter.
as well have infinite attack.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give her. I'm definitely not going S. I was thinking about going B, but I've been giving everything a B so far. So I almost want to go C, but I'm going to stick with B.
All right. What do you think, Jim?
I'll go C. Sure, let's
You'll
have
go
fun.
C, okay.
So, I mean, this card's definitely annoying. Like, it's like everything, David, you said is correct. Like, it's one that you don't want to really deal with. You don't want to kill it. So it's just kind of frustrating out there. But in the grand scheme of things, like, I think it's fine if you have a deck that's like playing more of the mid-game style. So it just kind of gets you a little bit closer to that win condition where your mid-game can pick the rest of it up. Obviously, if you get 2 of these out there, you're now doing this twice, so it seems cool. But even still, it just feels like all it's doing is staying on the board and getting you a little bit more lore. More than likely, I don't think... Yeah, it's not when you attack or challenge something. It's only if you get challenged. So it really is just questing every turn that you play it. So it seems fine, but I would say high C, low. Like, I don't think it's better than Mickey. And Mickey we have as like the B baseline.
Yeah, you convinced me. I'm going back down to a C.
Let's go.
Okay, so we got 2 C's and an S. That's
but
where
I do
we're at
agree.
right now.
If there's a Cruella shift, this card goes way up because you don't want to deal with this, so it just is going to get used for something else.
That's
so
really
if it can be a placeholder to something else, it's way better because you don't want to actually deal with it. But as of right now, that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm kind of banking my score on the fact that there is.
Oh, here he goes. He's making caveats.
Okay, no, I'll stick with S. No, I'll stick with S even if they don't bring in a shift Cruella. At 2 costs, yeah, I'll take it. Let's go.
I think I'm probably in between all you guys. Like, I think she's really good. I've just played green for the very first time last week, and she felt really strong in it. Every time I played her on 2, she gained at least like 4 lore on her own because she's so difficult to challenge into. Like, you just never want to. The fact that she can bounce anything that you play as the opponent, after turn 2, like unless you can defeat her like on your turn 3 or your turn 2, to your turn 3 before you play other stuff later that's like bigger that you don't want her to bounce, you're probably never doing it. So I think she's just going to sit on the board and quest like literally every turn until you win the game. And the deck that I was playing in particular was very like cheap characters, nothing over the cost of 4. It was just kind of get a bunch of stuff out, quest as fast as possible. And I think she works into that strategy like really, really well because it's just, you're basically paying 2 for 4 lore, which is pretty good. You only have to do that a few times and then you win the game. So
And boom,
I think
goes
in
the
that
dynamite.
I think in that kind of strategy, she's really good. So I don't think that she's like S tier, as in she's going to be seen in every single green deck ever. I could be wrong. Maybe she will be. I think she's probably like high B or low A. I do think she's better than Mickey because she's easier to play. Like, you're probably playing her every time you draw her in, the green deck that you're playing with her in it. And Mickey, there are probably some games where you just don't make it to 8. So I think I put her a little bit higher than Mickey. I could be convinced of like high B, like right ahead of Mickey. But I yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I think we got 2 C's, an S, and like a high B.
She gets a lot worse if they make cheap ways to enrage characters too, to force her to
That's
attack.
true.
Because
That's true.
Also doesn't.
Well,
give her
What? It's not
effect.
enraged.
Yeah, no,
What is
you're
it
right.
called again?
Yeah, reckless. Yeah. That is very true.
I'm also looking
Here he
at-
I could
goes,
see her
adjusting
under
his
Mickey.
rankings.
Well, we got to do the aggregate ranking, right? So
I know.
I think,
I would
yeah.
do B. For
Give it a
sure.
B.
Well, no, I'm going to do B for sure. Is it ahead of Mickey or is it not ahead of Mickey?
We can be spicy. And put
I
her
think it's ahead of Mickey. Just slightly.
I disagree,
Just slightly.
but we can do it as a team.
I disagree.
I
You're
think
also
they're like
Stitch.
neck and neck to me.
In my opinion, if they're both inkable, then you only compare them on turns that they actually get played.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
So when I play Mickey, it feels
Yeah.
better than when I play Cruella.
That's true. All right. You convinced me.
See, I'm convinced the other way, but that's fine. Next.
All right. Next, we got Maleficent.
You got
the
that,
Red
Mike.
Dragon.
Mike, you're up.
You're
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's your
God.
turn.
I don't usually start these, but I can try.
You have to.
I don't have the card up, but I know what it does. So it's a 9-cost 7/5 with 2 lore pips and the Dragonfire ability, which we all know. When Maleficent enters play, you get to just banish whatever you want. That ability is crazy for sure, and you get a 7/5 with 2 lore attached to it. So I think if you ever make it to 9, this is like an amazing card. The fact that you get something out of it immediately upon playing it, and then your opponent also likely has to answer it. Otherwise it threatens to gain you a bunch of lore, destroy a bunch of your opponent's things. Really easy to get 2-for-1s with this card. But again, it costs 9. I think it's like probably B tier. I think it's probably like right around like maybe higher than Mickey. Maybe it's low A. I think I'm convincing myself that it's like low A because it does something like immediately when it enters play. So it is better than Mickey in my opinion. Like Mickey just dies to Maleficent. Like your opponent plays Mickey on 8, you play Maleficent on 9 and take out their Mickey, right? So I think I'm rating it low A.
I've never played this Maleficent. Like I've played her in my decks, but I've never been able to play her on the board.
It's hard to get to 9.
Yeah, and I feel like there's even such a big difference between 8 and 9 because I've played Mickey several times, but I've never gotten to 9 to play Maleficent, which is interesting. But yeah, the playability's sick. Sweet stats. The one thing that makes her really good is that she's inkable. So like in my opinion, all of my red decks play at least just one of this character. Like I always just run one for that one off chance that I get to 9 and I'm able to play it. And if not, it's always going to be my inked card early on. So I think she's probably like a B for me.
What do you think, Jim?
Oh, it's so tough because the biggest push I had for Mickey was if I'm going to be spending that much, I don't want to ruin too much of the Mickey Mouse tier list, but just the similar idea of if I'm spending my entire turn doing this one thing that late in the game, it better be winning me the game or darn near close to it. This card is so situational because it's great if your opponent's playing bigger creatures. That's what you get to do. But if they have any sort of go wide strategy, you're just going to ink this card. But I think because you can ink it, it's totally fine. And it still serves a purpose. Because initially when I saw this, I was like, oh, I want to put this straight and unplayable. It is too slow. And because we only have a few ideas for like what ramp could look like as far as getting to 9 faster that doesn't just totally deplete your hand. Because it's also 9 cards. If the whole point of most of the conversation around this game right now is like running out of cards is just a reality that seems to keep happening. We're banking on the fact that you can ramp and keep a hand. So it just feels like a lot going in. But again, it's like assuming that's kind of the theme of Ruby is to be able to ramp up and kind of get to those later turns. This card's awesome. I just haven't seen it yet. So I don't know. I'd go to C, but it's tough for me to go higher than that because it's so late of a play to do something defensive, not like immediately win.
The one thing that I will say about that is that like we've gotten into situations pretty frequently where your opponent is on like 17 or 18 lore and they play something ready and you can't challenge it on your turn and they're just going to win immediately on their turn when you know the turn cycles. So I think having things like this where you can take something out that is ready. I mean, obviously this is a really expensive way to do that, but you're on, you know, it's late game. You're on 18, your opponent's on 18. Your opponent plays something that threatens to end the game. You play this, which destroys their thing that was threatening to end the game, and you're threatening to end the game as well when you play this. So I think that's the only thing I'd say there.
I think too, just with it only having 2 lore when you quest, like 3 even feels strong, but 2 just kind of feels like meh. Like, yeah, you might be at 18, who knows, but I don't know. Just it feels just defensive to stop that when it's like I'd almost rather just have the Dragonfire to
sure.
just destroy
But
it.
you probably also have 4 Dragonfires in this
Totally.
deck.
Yeah. 100% you're playing that long game there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still going to stick with C. Just I think I have to take into account like 9 costs just is so
it's very
much.
expensive. Very expensive. All right, David, I saw you shaking your head earlier. What was that about?
I don't know. Me, you know, trashing Jim's takes.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna give it an A-. I think it is expensive, but I think we're gonna see a lot of ways to ramp, and I think any character that just gives me value on playing, especially a banish, just feels real good. Yeah, I don't know. I just think the Dragonfire ability is good enough to have as a threat that I'm doing a low A. I think after a few sets, its value goes down. But for set 1, I do think it's an A-.
That's fair.
I do fear that with the limited card pool, we're already barely going to 9 ink. Like once we have more cards, what are the chances we get to 9 ink?
Yeah, probably pretty low. It feels like a lot. It feels really expensive. The one game, no, I think I've played this twice. Once was like in my first couple of games when we didn't know what we were doing, so I think it's easier to sort of get to a later stage in the game. The other time that I've played this, my opponent played, I think, 4 Let It Goes and ramped me to 9, which was super fun, but yeah, not a normal occurrence. So I think, Jay, did you say C?
I said B, but I'm going to move it to a C.
All right.
We keep
I
agreeing,
think,
and then David calls us silly.
I think we're gonna go low B here, probably.
Yeah.
Just the aggregate of ratings here. So let's move on. Let's move on to Robin Hood, Sapphire Robin Hood. I think Jay, you're up next.
Me and you have differing opinions on this card.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's a 6 cost, completely inkable, a 4/4. Ugh, those stats for a 6. But he has Feed the Poor. When you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in their hand than you, draw a card. And Good Shot. During your turn, this character gains Evasive. They can challenge characters with Evasive. He has 2 lore pips. So I think this dude's pretty sweet, honestly. I mean, if you compare him with Tigger, Tigger's a 6 cost 4/4 with Evasive. So he's a 6 cost 4/4 that has Evasive on your turn to take out Tigger, and he also can net you a card. I think the reason, so like, you don't always get to draw the card, but playing blue, I feel like I get rid of my hand way faster than I do with other colors. So I think most of the time you have a pretty good chance of being able to play him and draw a card. I think he's pretty sweet. I mean, he's not the best, and he's one of those like sideboard cards that you play if you know you're playing into red, right? So I'll give him I don't want to say B because I said B for just about everything. So I'll go with an A.
All right. Sounds good. Jim, what do you think?
Shoot.
Are you gonna say exactly the same thing? Are we
Basically.
following the pattern here?
I like it. If I'm top decking this card, I'm so thrilled because I get to play a decent sized body and draw a card, so I'll have 2 cards on my next turn. I'm thrilled about that. I was gonna put this as an A as well.
Nice.
David disagree with this.
David's gonna rate this an S tier.
Boo! It's a B.
A B. Okay, so we got 3 Bs.
It's a B.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't like this card. I think this is like a C at best.
Oh, wow.
I think it's harder than you would think it is to draw a card off of it. I think either you're at a point in the game where you're both top decking, they played their card and they now have 0 cards in your hand. You drew this, they still have 0 cards in your hand and you can't draw a card off of it. Or I don't know. The other times that I've played this, I've had 3 or 4 cards in my hand because I'm playing purple along with it. And I'm not drawing a card. I think the stat line is like pretty meh for 6. For some reason, Stitch's 3/5 seems more reasonable than Robin Hood's 4/4, even though it's like the same number of stats, but 5 health is a lot better than 4 health, I think. And you can play Stitch on 4 with the shift. I just if you're not running into evasive, I just don't think this is that valuable. Like if you were guaranteed to draw a card every single time this was with this entered play, I would definitely like high A. But the fact that it's like conditional means that you have to it's weird to like play into it by emptying your hand if you don't need to, but it's also like you can't really control what your opponent's going to do with their resources in hand. So I say this is like a C.
So counterpoint is that this is kind of a role player card, right? So like he's got evasive on your turn, so you play him into red. He's also really good into purple because if your opponent's playing purple, they're always going to be drawing cards, and you'll more than likely be able to draw a card off of it. So without sideboard as an option, you can still ink him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's a really good slot that fills one of those sideboard cards in your deck. And that's how I'm evaluating him. I'm not evaluating him as a card that you play in every deck.
I think if that's the case, we're at like low B, high C for sure, right? Because
same area.
Love high C.
It's like a card that we're not that excited to play, but it's playable. So I think I'm fine putting it like the lowest B possible.
There's no way he's worse than Maleficent. No,
I think he's way worse than Maleficent. Well, okay, hang on. You can ink them both when they're not relevant, right? That's the argument, is that you're going to play Robin Hood when he is relevant. You're going to ink him when he's not relevant. You're going to do the same thing with Maleficent, but Maleficent, when she comes down, has a way bigger impact than Robin Hood.
Okay, I feel you.
That's
we can
my
just skip
that's
the
my
last
thoughts
one.
there. Yeah,
We can just skip
everybody
the
knows
last
what the last one is.
Do you want to
Jim.
say it in
Move to the top.
unison? 1, 2, 3. S tier.
S tier.
S tier. This is easily the best one
Mike,
cost
why
card
is-
in the game.
Why is he S tier, Mike?
Yeah, easily the best one cost card. Can trade into almost every 2-cost card and most 3-cost cards. You can hang back until your opponent plays the card that you want to trade into. I think just the fundamentals of how this game works makes this card nuts. You get a lot of value for your one resource that you spend on turn 1.
Yep. And even Smash coming in at 3 versus a 1 cost Captain Hook.
Yeah.
Just the value there. I mean, every
It's
time we
crazy
talk about
value.
a new card, we talk about Captain Little Baby Hook.
Yeah. I honestly, dude, I think whenever a card comes out, like, you got to ask the question, like, does this die to Baby Hook? Elsa and Cruella both do.
It's a meta-defining card, honestly.
It is 100%.
That's why Cruella is so low for me, because sure, you get to do that cool thing once and then Hook just takes care of it.
I do agree. I think Cruella's viability is 1-for-1 aligned with how many people are playing Steel, which I think is going to be a lot of people because Steel seems really, really strong.
Yeah, we need
With
to
the
see more. We need to see if like other colors have this same kind of like response and way to deal with characters, because Steel is like, it's like Steel is able to deal with boards. Purple is able to, Amethyst is able to draw cards and get efficiency. So
not only can it deal with boards, but it also has Guardian, or whatever they call it in this game.
You can protect your board while you're dealing with your opponent's board. It's wild.
Very good.
I mean, and Amethyst has some pretty good challenger units as well, or at least one with Jafar. Like, Jafar's pretty sweet, and
Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, Dr. Facilier as well. They're both really cool. I think like we've seen a lot of Amethyst Steel in action, and it seems by far the strongest deck in the game, in my opinion. So
100%.
At least for now. But that's it. That's our definitive tier list of the D23 cards. So go
inarguable.
They're all pretty good. None of them are unplayable.
Go buy up all the hooks and go sell me all your Mickeys and Maleficents, Robin Hoods, and Cruellas.
Incredible.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for watching, and join our Discord. Again, if you made it this far, you deserve to be on our Discord. So join us. We're going to have some fun conversations in there. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.